What happens when high school students who've spent 7 months learning ways in which to advocate for arts education in New Jersey take the mic to share what they've discovered? Welcome to Art Isn't a Limit, an Arts at NJ Youth Ambassador podcast, an all-youth-led show where we explore how the arts transform lives, communities, and possibilities. Born from our Arts at NJ Youth Arts Education Council experience, this podcast amplifies the voices of young advocates who understand firsthand why creative expression matters.
Hi, my name is Kristina and I'm part of the Youth Eds Arts Council. Welcome to Art Isn't a Limit, an Arts NJ podcast. In this episode, we speak with Sanaz Hojreh, a consultant in arts and arts education, about the powerful intersection of creative expression and youth mental health. We explore how arts programs can serve as healing spaces where young adults process emotions, cope with stress, and work through difficult life experiences in supportive environments. We also discuss practical strategies for implementing trauma-informed arts education practices and integrating these approaches into existing educational frameworks to better support student well-being. Welcome to the podcast, Inez.
Thank you, Kristina. Thank you for having me.
Let's get started. Share with our listeners a bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. Well, I came to the U.S. as an immigrant, and I came when I was just a child of 5 years old. And I was very shy, very reserved, and didn't quite felt like I had a sense of belonging. That was really until I started taking classes, music and visual arts, and then really connected to something about those experiences. The joy of singing, the joy of creating really spoke to me in a way that really helped me find peace and helped me feel like I had a sense of belonging. And when I was in high school, I had a really amazing theater teacher who we used to do the high school musicals, and myself and another one of my friends were the student directors and producers that did the musicals, that did the theater programs. And I found another voice. I found my leadership voice. And in that leadership voice, I got to really, build muscles of how to lead my peers and think about a musical in its entirety and how we wanted to stage certain pieces and grow and develop them. And that to me was a skill, is a skill that I still use till this day. And from there, I went on to Rutgers University, and where I double majored in business and in theater. And while I was there, I had a really amazing professor by the name of Dr. Polly McLaughlin, who she was recently passed on. But she invited myself and some of my peers to use the arts in order to help young people in college make better decisions. And it was my peers again in college, but also in the community abroad in Newark. So we were using arts experiences and art strategies to tell stories, to help people make better decisions. We used improvisation, and we used plays oftentimes to tell and help people become a little bit more empathetic to various different subject matters. And that was an amazing experience, which then led me to work at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. And I started at the Arts Center before the doors actually opened in their arts education programs. And I was there for about 16 years. And I got to work with thousands upon thousands of young people. I was really lucky. The team really was able to work over those 16 years with over 1 million young people coming through the doors, 1 million family members, students. And they ran the spectrum of performances that people got to see, to in-school residency programs that sent teaching artists into the classroom, and then also after-school opportunities for youth, and then professional development for educators. And that was an amazing 16 years of my life, where I got to work with some amazing artists and connect with some amazing young people who are now artists in their own right doing amazing things, winning various awards, Tonys to MacArthur Genius Awards, and everything in between. And I was really blessed to be in that position. And then I stepped away and started doing consulting work. And an organization that myself and several others established was an organization called Arts Ed Norc. And in that group, we decided that we were going to really focus in on the systems that would help young people access more arts education. We had some amazing arts partners in the city already, even outside the city, working with young people. But we were really now focusing on the systems that young people would be allowed to do and experience more arts and more arts education. And through that, we realized that the mayor and the school district were both calling for Newark to be a trauma-informed city. And we sat with ourselves and we said, well, what does that mean? What is that supposed to look like? How are we supposed to be trauma-informed? What is our responsibility as artists and as arts educators to make sure that that exists? And we took over a year to think about and work with a cross sector of different groups and people to examine what that means. And we then stepped back and realized that we as artists have a responsibility in all of our spaces with young people to make sure that those spaces are trauma informed and healing centered. And then we also realized that the arts naturally, done with intention, have the ability to help bring about healing experiences. And that can be done in a variety of different ways. But it was really interesting for me that how full circle this experience was for me to understand that as a young person who came to a new country, who had to learn the language, who had to navigate people and places that didn't always make sense, that arts was a way that I healed. And now I'm in this wonderful position of being able to share and talk about this work with intention with others who maybe have been using this strategy, but not necessarily calling it that. So it's been a wonderful journey for me about how I got here.
Yeah, that is wonderful to hear about the fact that you came to America at a young age. You worked with theater and then you went to Rutgers to do theater and double major. And I think it's wonderful that you like believe that art is helpful because sometimes people don't like to express their like words in groups with people, and it's very like you can open up your mind to like different things and you can like think outside the box and not be as closed mind to like to different sorts of therapy or ways of coping.
Absolutely. I think when you think about the experience of going to see a musical, and you get swept away by the music, or you go to your favorite concert of your favorite musical artist, no matter what they are, there's a feeling that happens. There's a joy that's released. That feeling when you just dance it out, right? You just move your body, you shake your body, or you drum, or you do whatever it is. There's a joy that comes with it. Now, not everybody, and I think that what we do in this country very specifically is say that if you are good at something, you therefore need to then make that your job. It's not true, right? We don't work out our various muscles because we want to do something specific, right? Like we have a whole body. We don't like to play basketball because we're all thinking that we're going to become NBA stars, right? That's not true. We play it because we liked it, because we like to have a good time, because we enjoy running around, because we enjoy the competition with our friends. Whatever that is for you, arts can be for you as well. It doesn't have to be a vocation in order to bring you joy, peace, and love. You can use all of those things, and it could also be your vocation. It's up to you. You really have the opportunity to do it all.
Yes, yes. Especially I like musicals because like they also help people like you said understand empathy for other people, and it shows like different how morals work and how you can be more of like a better person. And the same with music. You can it helps you express emotions. Like writing music can help people like get their emotions out like multiple like so many artists do it. And it's just a wonderful thing that the arts can be used to help people like bring out their emotions, but also help other people relate to how they feel.
Yeah, like writing a piece of poetry, right? Or going to see an art exhibit and seeing an artist convey a people, place, or a time that really makes you pause and appreciate the colors that they're using, the shapes that they're using, the way that they've crafted that work or a sculpture. So, all of these different things are ways in which we can celebrate who we are as humans. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're an expert. Something that I've done recently is I've taken up watercolor. I don't consider myself a visual artist, but I looked at it and I saw someone doing it and I said, I want to try that. And I don't know that I can put my art up in a gallery yet, but it brings me joy. And so does it really matter? No, because it brings me joy and that's enough.
I totally agree. Any sort of form of art, like you don't have to be good at it. I also enjoy watercolor. It's just like the feeling of just making something, creating something that you like, and you're not going to have to worry about what other people think about it. It's just an amazing feeling
Yeah.
because nobody else can make what you make.
Exactly. And sometimes we're feeling stressed and we need a way to release it. And picking up the water and the paint for me is a way to release that. Another way that I love to release it is singing. And I don't have the best voice in the world, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to sing in the car really loud and I don't care who's next to me. I'm just going to listen. And it just brings me joy. And that's all that matters.
Yes. Yes, that's really all that matters because at the end of the day, we're all just human and we deserve to have an outlet for our stress.
Yeah. If you're having a bad day, if you're having a bad moment, sometimes even just thinking about your favorite song can help you reset to let you know it's going to be okay.
Yeah. From your experience working with youth and arts programs, what have you observed about creative expression helps young people process emotions and cope with stress?
We just talked about some of these, right? It's a safe outlet for your emotions, whether you're happy, sad, or anything in between. Um, helps you articulate complex feelings because sometimes, saying words is not quite enough. We need to move our bodies to evoke that emotion and to release something. It can reduce internal pressure and feeling like you're keeping everything inside. It's a wonderful place for that to happen. It can actually help support emotional regulation. The science proves that rhythmic things and humming is a way to reset your vagus nerve. And we really can all really appreciate that. So, again, things like music can be doing that. Um, and it can help soothe anxiety for some people too. Um, it encourages self reflection and meaning making, right? It can help us tell our own stories and make sense of our stories by engaging in these conversations, by constructing a poem, by doing spoken word, right? All of those different areas are helpful. And it helps to give a person a sense of agency. That's huge, right? Like that I have the power to not only change my moments, right? That my feeling, but also change and shape my life. That I am the one who can tell my own story, and I have the ability to do that in multiple different ways. Um, and it really can help to strengthen confidence, and it can be a coping mechanism for us who need it. Um, it can also bring about this opportunity for connection with others, right? Like just you and I connecting on watercolor. Oh, I love watercolor too. Oh, what do and my next question doesn't belong to the podcast. It would be like, well, what are you doing now? What brushes are you using? What techniques do you like to do? But we have a new sense of connection now. And, there could be a place or space that other watercolorists might want to connect to that brings you a sense of belonging to another area. Um, all of this helps to reduce stress. It restores your outlook and it can actually lower cortisol levels. That's your stress hormone. And, the best thing is just that ability to cultivate hope and joy.
Yes, yes, I agree. Like doing just things like collaborating with people. For example, film, like say you're making a film movie and it sort of like helps you relieve your stress and show your story and how people see you. And through like connecting through the arts, it helps like people just have to understand like how they process their emotions every day. And it is a wonderful experience because you get to meet new people who are like you and who want to help you become like a better person or express those emotions.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you approach creating safe, supportive environments and arts programs where students feel comfortable exploring difficult feelings or experiences through their creative work?
So, one of my favorite ways of just making sure everyone is on the same page is doing something that a colleague of mine taught me how to do. Purple Shakira uh, Haze, Purple Haze, and she creates community agreements with the groups of people that she works with. And those community agreements are very intentionally set by the whole group. They're not rules. They are about everybody having a voice to create what the community agreements are. There's a way to make sure that people not only know and can only agree with what it is that we're trying to accomplish and what are the set of circumstances we want to do around, but who do you want to be in the space? What do you want to feel in the space? What do you want to accomplish in the space? So we're all in the midst of being, feeling, and doing at the same time, and that we're all on the same path. And that really helps establish boundaries. And it also gives everybody, again, the opportunity, the agency to say, hey, I think we're off track, right? It's not about someone controlling the room. It's about all of us being on the same page of how we want this to move forward. And it also provides opportunity for leadership, that the leadership doesn't have to happen from just one central area, right? It doesn't have to be the teacher doing the teaching and that's it. It can allow other people to lead and other people to have a moment of, I think we should do it this way. I think we should think about this. Are we really following our community agreements? How do we want to shift so we get back to them? Um, and it really is about meeting people where they are and identifying their hopes and their concerns and how is it that they want to grow, right? And I think those are ways that we can just make sure that we're all okay. Getting permission sometimes even from each other to give feedback. We don't always do that. We just say, oh, this is what I think of this. I maybe not have wanted that, or maybe have not been ready for that. But even gaining permission from each other to talk about, especially in the arts, our work, because sometimes we're not ready to share it. So being able to model that and being able to share that with others is really, I think, a really key point in helping people feel safer in spaces. Not every place is going to be safe for everybody, but we talk about this a lot with my colleagues. We want to make things a brave space. And so how do we make places braver spaces?
I agree with that statement. Communities are so important for people to understand each other, to have community rules, to have everyone be on the same page because sometimes communities may not be safe or feel safe for other people. And having that sort of safe space for people who want to make art, who want to just enjoy the feeling or emotion is great because at the end of the day, what um what you guys are doing is basically creating just like experiencing emotions.
Yeah. And I think it's important for us to know what emotions are there even in the first place, right? I think that's one of the reasons I love theater is that it allows you to have a whole spectrum of emotions and identify what they are, what could they look like. My sad might not look like your sad. It doesn't make it wrong, it just makes it different. My joy and the way I express joy may not look like what your joy looks like. And so all of these different things are really helpful in an art space to explore. And that could be through theater, it could be through visual arts, it could be through music, it could be through any of those areas.
I agree. Yes. What does trauma-informed practice look like in arts education settings? And how can educators use creative activities to support students who may be dealing with challenging life circumstances?
So I mentioned earlier that not all art spaces can be healing centered spaces, but with that intentionality, they could be. And by creating places where safety is valued and is intentionally placed, where someone can be trustworthy with their word and say in advance what is going to happen, the things that we're going to accomplish together, or the what's going to even take place. Choice and control. And so, if on a day that you don't feel comfortable doing something, you can opt out to do something else because you ultimately should be the one. It's not to necessarily give you a opt out, but a way to opt in into something else. Um, Opportunities for collaboration, and that's with other peers or to be a leader in the space, to be empowered to make choices and to be empowered to lean into the things that you're good at. Um, there are sometimes people who feel like, I'm no good at that. I'm not going to do it. And then other places where people feel like I'm kind of good at that. I want to do it more. So allowing them to decide what they want to build on, um, and encouraging them to do the hard things. It's not to do the hard things, but giving that person the choice. And then the last piece is culturally responsiveness and humility, right? Everybody um, has a whole host of different people that they are, right? We are um, people who are of a certain age, no matter where we are. We are people with a certain heritage, no matter where we come from. We are people who have a certain connection to other things, like you and I are like watercolor people, right? What are you? What else are you? I'm also a gardener and I love to garden, so I'm a gardener person. And so these are all of the various identities I have within myself. And we need to make sure we give space for people to be the people who they are. And to be culturally responsive in rooms is really crucial. And in fact, my colleague Wendy Liskow and I, through our partnership with ArtsEd New Jersey, have created a culturally responsive arts education workout. And we've done this for several years. We'll actually be kicking it off in January again. And for anyone who's interested who wants to come along with us on that journey, it's an 8-week experience, and they can go to artsednewjersey.org and register for free. And I encourage it for anyone, any age, and also highly encourage it for educators, parents, or school board members. But based on this work, we can really be intentional about our practices and look toward um, identifying if a young person feels disconnected from the work, and how do we then help support them.
That's great because sometimes kids feel like they are disconnected from like what they're doing and they feel like they have to listen to what the teacher says or what the teacher does. But giving them that option to do what they feel like is best for them is amazing
Yeah,
because it helps them realize like adults are people that they will listen to you if you need help. And it's really helpful for development too because it shows them that you can always like ask or tell someone if you're like you're comfortable or uncomfortable doing something.
yeah. I mean, I've had young people who have been scared to go out on stage. But let me tell you, they ran the lights, they ran the sound, they did everything backstage and understood all the language and vocabulary that was required of them. Does that mean that they aren't good at what they did? Absolutely not. They got the lesson. They understood what it means to be an artist, to be on stage, to do the work to make the show happen. So ultimately, it's about how you show that learning, and there are multiple ways to do it. It's not just one.
I agree. There's every way people can be either extroverted people, introverted people, people who want to do both, and showing people that you can do anything you set your mind to and not feel like pressured to like how you have to go out on stage or do this. It makes people feel like more better about
Yeah.
themselves.
And sometimes there are educators who ask students to do certain things, but don't do it themselves. And that's not helpful. We got to be up there as much as they are. We have to take the risks as much as they are. And that's important, right? And also to be able to show you can make a mistake. So many of our young people feel like there's only one answer, and that's the exact opposite that the arts are. The arts are every answer. And it doesn't matter. It's about why you select that answer.
Exactly. Like, say if you're reading a book and you analyze something as this, there's no wrong interpretation. There's every different interpretation. You just have to have evidence, say, based on the interpretation that you have.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Based on your work with schools and organizations, what are the most effective ways to integrate arts based approaches that support student mental health and well being into existing educational frameworks?
I get this question a lot, and I know that there are certain schools who have specific SEL times. I want to flip that. I want to make it arts times that have SEL baked into them, because SEL and the arts go hand in hand together, right? Using theater, using visual arts and music and media arts and dance to help students identify and express and regulate emotions is absolutely something that could happen. And, train more people in what healing centeredness means and how it can show up, right? Have a dedicated wellness space in schools, right? There are calming places, rooms that some schools are instituting, and I love that. And we should do that for students and for the adults, because adults need to sometimes have a Zen Den route too. Make sure that arts are still core to the curriculum. Right now, it's sometimes considered a special, and it is special, I would agree. However, it is a core academic subject and should be treated as such. And there are a whole host of community and arts partner organizations that are out there, that folks could tap into and utilize their expertise in the school, whether that be a museum, a teaching artist, whatever that is. Really connect with them and allow them to also bring their expertise into the space. And it allows young people to see that creativity is also a part of community wellness and not just schoolwork. Um, Also, opportunities for peers to do work together, right? Have young people create a musical for themselves, whether they be the creators of it or using something that's already out there, but having opportunities to do more of it yourselves, and you guys be the organizers of it, right? You are the leader, you are the decision making factor, and you're the celebrator of that work. And you'll do it with a mentor, I'm sure, or two, but really having you be able to exert that muscle and develop it is really key and important. And, how do we create mindfulness through the arts, right? So, whether that be drawing or sound baths or journaling opportunities, but really make that part of the day. So, whether that be the music that's in the hallways between classes, or if it's the opportunity to just check in and journal in the morning every day, whatever that is that really helps people to settle into the work and release some of the stress of the day. And then celebrate student voices every time we can. Really celebrating young people's thoughts. I worked with a school who created a pledge, and the students created the pledge and they loved it. And it's now something that they recite every day as they get into the classroom. Wherever we can to embed arts and wellness, I think is a win for everybody.
I agree. Schools should have more things that give like creative control to the students, and that art shouldn't just be an elective or special to other schools, but instead integrated. I remember in middle school it was integrated. I don't know why they changed it in high school. I feel like everyone would benefit from the arts and getting to like explore the creative side instead of having to like not have art as just ingrained into the curriculum.
Yeah. And I love that you said that, Kristina, because, there's nothing stopping us from going to our school boards and saying, we want more of this. This makes more sense to us. This provides us peace. This provides us also a challenge, because it takes a lot for anybody to write music, right? To write a book, to write a short story, to be the creator, right? Creation and the pyramid that we're all trying to get to, in Bloom's taxonomy, the peak is creation. So if we're trying to get to creation, it is the amalgamation of all the steps below. So that's the biggest thing.
Yes. I really am hoping that it does change in schools around New Jersey and that people can have an integrated curriculum with art.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I work a lot with an organization, as I mentioned, ArtsEd Newark, and we do this healing-centered work. So if anyone is interested, you can go to artsednewark.org to find out more information about our training programs and our partnerships. And I think there may be a podcast coming up in our future too.
That is amazing. And I hope your podcast goes great.
Thank you. You might be a guest on it, Kristina. Stay tuned.
That would be awesome. Thank you, Sanaz, for sharing your invaluable insights on the transformative power of arts education in supporting your youth mental health. Your expertise in creating trauma-informed creative spaces offers practical guidance for anyone working with young people through the arts.
Thanks so much for having me, Kristina.
You're welcome, Sanaz. I hope to see you again.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us on Art Isn't a Limit, where youth voices lead the conversation about the transformative power of arts education. If you'd like to learn more about ArtsEd NJ's Youth Arts Ed Council, visit our website at artsednj.org.